What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Like, share, subscribe, comment, IG, TikTok on the video. It was gonna hop right into it. So today we will be talking about the fake UPS delivery thing. Now I know I'm a little late, and then Trap Little Ross stole my thunder because I had some added details too that I've been had, but I didn't know what it was connected to because the video just went viral. But like I said, we will be talking about the fake UPS thing today. So we'll start with just the facts. So what we do know is, because this incident took place in late January 2024. The three individuals that were arrested, convicted, or Omari Shumpert, who is also known as Lil Blast, is going to be important later in the video. Alonzo Pierre Mingo, and a Demetrius Shumpert, who, Omari and Demetrius are related. We'll start with Alonzo Mingo. Alonzo Mingo was found guilty of 4 counts of first-degree murder and was sentenced to life without parole in September. Demetrius Shumpert was found guilty on 3 counts of first-degree murder in November. And Omari Shumpert, also, like I said, known as Lil Blast, faced 11 counts, including aiding and abetting, first-degree murder with intent, and second-degree murder. He was found guilty of 10 of those counts. The jury deemed him not guilty of 1 count of premeditated first-degree murder. The 3 individuals that were unalive were 39-year-old Mario Trejo, his wife, 42-year-old Shannon Patricia Trejo, and her son, 20-year-old Jorge Reyes Jungwirth. So, obviously, as everybody has seen the video, I meant to say this before, but I wasn't going to put the video here because it's long, and, you probably already seen it if you clicked on this video. But, obviously, we've seen all the video. We've seen how it went down. We saw the 3 individuals and the kids running around. Obviously, they didn't unalive the kids, which is a blessing, but it still ended up happening. So, first, obviously people wonder what's the motive behind this. At first, when it was first put out, it did seem like, maybe they just ran up on an innocent family. But we come to later find out that was not the case. So we come to find out one of the reasons that they were even able to track the suspects is because they had a poll camera looking at that house, because that house was already under federal investigation for selling drugs. We have a Reddit post that says, drug money apparently was a motive in the home robbery, in which 3 people were shot to death Friday in Can Rapids. Newly released court documents saying that one of the victims, Mario Alberto Trejo Estrada, 39, had been trailed by the drug investigators for weeks. The documents say, too, that Estrada and his wife, Shannon Patricia Jungwirth, 42, who was also shot and killed, had been sending money to Mexico. None of these documents say whether Jorge Reyes Jungwirth, 20, was involved with drugs. He was at home at the time of the robbery and was also shot and killed. And like I said, this has already been basically confirmed because they had a poll camera on that house under federal investigation. So not only did the streets know that these niggas was, had money and sending it back to Mexico and had drug money, but obviously the police did know as well. So obviously, this is another thing that confirms it is basically when you watch the video back and you hear them basically ask them where the money is at a bunch of times. And it just confirms to you that, they went in this house with the intent to rob, thinking that they had money, and, there has to be a certain reason they have money. You're not, that type of home, you're not just going to run up on somebody like a regular, working a regular 9 to 5 and run up on them because they ain't going to have that much money accessible like that. They live in paycheck to paycheck. But if you run up on that house like they did, they obviously knew there was some type of money somewhere in that house. So that was crazy. And I will say, they ain't find the money. I don't think they look far enough. I mean, looking at DJ Academic Stream, they showed that, the house had some type of basement and things of that sort. And basically, they just stayed on what would be, considered the second level or, the ground level. And never went anywhere else in the house. So, I mean, in that situation, if you're hiding something like that, I would guess it would be in the basement. But I guess they didn't know the layout of the house for real. So, like I said, all convicted. Minnesota has a law, basically, you get convicted of I think you get convicted of murder like this, it's like life without parole, mandatory. I think that's the law. What's the added detail to this is, if you don't know, like I said earlier in the video, Lil Blast is Omari Shumpert, who is a Minnesota rapper, who was one of the individuals who was seen basically when he got in a tussle with the Mr. Estrada, or Trejo Estrada. He got in a tussle with him. He then fired and unalived him. So that specific one was Omari Shumpert. But he has been on paperwork for a while. And I actually had access to this a long time ago. I was doing a video on this, but I didn't know how known he was. But I didn't know, obviously I didn't know this UPS delivery video is going to be this viral. And obviously I didn't think he was that well. No, I just didn't think it was enough to the video because we didn't have an incident attached to it. But now we have an incident attached to it. So yeah, we just finna get into it. This nigga told, let me just, preface y'all. This nigga told on everybody, including his mama. Like, word, telling on your mama is crazy. Telling on your motherfucking mama is out of pocket. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So, it's coming from Minnesota main source. Has his name circled here in person. Says role witness Omari Shumpert. So it's highlighting details that he is, letting the people know. So I'm just reading it to you. So it says Omari Shumpert's mom came into the bathroom and asked what happened. Omari Shumpert told his mom he shot a guy. Omari Shumpert's mom asked if the guy was alive. Omari Shumpert said, I don't know. Omari Shumpert asked his mom to drop him off at a friend's. They were driving to South Minneapolis. Omari Shumpert's mom asked again. Omari Shumpert said, I shot him. He wasn't moving. Lefty shot the other two in the house. And if you didn't know, they're going to tell you later in the paperwork. But Lefty is Alonzo Mingo. He called him Lefty because they're going to lay out their relationship in a couple minutes. So it says Detective Joe Price, who told you that? Omari Shumpert, Mingo. Detective Joe Price, stay in the car until they go in the house. Omari Shumpert. Yeah, so I stayed in the car and went up. He went up to the house, and then they came back towards the car, and then they turned back around and went back to the house, and then I seen they was talking to a dude at the front door, and then I see Mingo up a gun and pointed at him, and then they walk in towards the house, so I got out of the car, and I was walking towards the door. Then I walked past the door to go towards the back, but then I turned around and just came into the same door they went in. And when I came in the door, it was two dudes, my brother and Migo. They were wrestling, so then I helped out and grabbed them. And I grabbed Mario and I hit him with my firearm, and I told him to stay down and lay down on the ground. Me and Migo walked away my brother walked away and I stayed there and I was dancing. I was dancing. I was watching Mario and I had my firearm pointed at my brother, at him and told him don't move. And then I heard a woman screaming towards the living room area, but I was still sitting in the kitchen pointing my firearm at Mario. And then I seen the kid. The kid came up next to Mario and I put my firearm down. And then my brother came up and grabbed the kid. He moved him because I was pointing the firearm. But when I put it down, he seen that I still had my firearm close to him. He didn't want no harm happening to the kid, so he moved the kid and he went into a different room. And I sat there and I pointed a firearm at him. I told him don't move. I looked over to my left. I seen him flinch once. He did that. I thought he was getting up. I thought the victim was getting up, so I hit him with the firearm again. After I hit him with the firearm, my clip magazine fell out, and I was going down to grab my clip magazine. I was going down. Mario jumped up and grabbed me, and as I was trying to put the clip back inside, he grabbed hold of me, and I pulled the trigger and shot him. And he fell. Then my brother and me asked what happened. I told him he shot me and I was trying to get a hold of the gun and my gun went off. He asked me, was he okay? Was he alive? I kicked him and I told him I don't think so. And that's when Mingo walked in and he asked the same thing and I told him the same thing, and then he walked out of the room and walked into the other room. Then I heard a gunshot go off. Then I seen the guy that came outside come towards the kitchen, but then he went into off the door, so I followed him and kept saying that he had the money. He had the money, so I followed him. And when I followed him, we got to the door. So my co-defendant Migo walked up behind him, just shot him, as y'all can see on video. And once he did that, I ran out the door and he went back to the car. Detective Joe Price, do you know how many shots that Mingo took at the Omari Shumpert, huh? Detective Joe Price, who you knew is Jorge there, Omari Shumpert. I only heard one as he shot him. He ran, and I ran out the door. So no, for one. Detective Joe Price. Okay, so you just heard one, Omari Shumpert. Yes, Detective Joe Price. So you heard the one initially in the back room. Detective Joe Price. So that's that's total crack. We know that. Omari Shumpert. Yes, and Detective Joe Price said, and you know that. Omari Shumpert. Yes, Detective Joe Price. So let's try to figure out the truth here. So Jeff, that makes sense. Omari Shumpert. Yes. Detective Joe Price. At least more sense than some random dead guy to try to pin it on. Omari Shumpert. Yes. Detective Joe Price. And you knew that Demetrius was there with you, right, and not fresh. Omari Shumpert. Yes. Joe Price. Okay. Detective Matt Aker. If you can't talk and elaborate on these things, then we have to tell you everything, and you're not telling us anything. You have to be able to talk on these points a little bit. It's pretty clear that you read through all the discovery, and then you just kind of told us everything that was in the discovery. Omari Shumpert, I told you everything. That is the truth. Detective Matt Aker, we all know. Detective Joe Price, yeah, the truth that we already know. Detective Matt Aker, you got to be able to talk on it a little more. Detective Joe Price, that's not helpful. So, but the Jeff bit, you've been around your family a long time. How long was Jeff hanging around with your mom, Omari Shumpert? About 2-3 years. And then there's some more paperwork with some more facts. It says Alonzo Mingo is a friend of Omari Shumpert's brother. Omari Shumpert has 3 brothers, Demetrius, Antoine and Julian. Alonzo Mingo was friends with Antoine. They were friends before Omari Shumpert was born. Alonzo Mingo has been around all of Omari Shumpert's life. Omari Shumpert lived in Chicago before coming to Minnesota. Omari Shumpert met Alonzo Mingo in person when he moved to Minnesota. Omari Shumpert knew of Alonzo Mingo before meeting him in person. Alonzo Mingo used to hang out with Omari Shumpert's brother. Alonzo Mingo used to come to the house. Demetrius Shumpert kept his distance from Alonzo Mingo since he just got out of the federal penitentiary. Omari Shumpert calls Alonzo Mingo Lefty. January 26, 2024, Omari Shumpert woke up. He had an appointment to get his car windows tinted. Omari Shumpert's girlfriend had an appointment, and Omari Shumpert told his girlfriend to take his car to get it tinted. Omari Shumpert was living at 919 Sheridan on January 26, but still kept staying at his mom's place in Minneapolis. Omari Shumpert's mom got a hold of him around 9 a.m. Omari Shumpert asked his girlfriend to get him an Uber to his mom's house. When Omari Shumpert showed up to the house, Lefty was parked outside of the car. Lefty rolled down his window, said, "What's up?" Lefty had a dark Nissan Altima, obviously the one that seen on the pole camera on video. Omari Shumpert went inside the house. Omari Shumpert's mom was on a couch. Lefty had a black book bag on him when he was in the house, and there were UPS uniforms in there. Omari Shumpert was not told where the lick was. He was just going. Before leaving, Lefty asked Omari Shumpert where his phone was. Lefty told Omari Shumpert to turn his phone off. Omari Shumpert's mom came in the living room where they were having this conversation. Omari Shumpert told him not to turn his phone off and give it to her. Omari Shumpert told his mom he needs his phone. Omari Shumpert's mom was aware they were going to hit a lick. Turn the phone off was to prevent the police from pinging their location. Omari Shumpert's mom had Demetrius' phone. They left, getting into Lefty's car and started driving. It was Lefty, Demetrius Shumpert, and Omari Shumpert in the car. It says, if Omari Shumpert testifies contrary to the substance of the proffer, provides false, incomplete, or misleading information, or otherwise presents an illegal proceeding or position material consistent with the proffer, the state may use the proffer against Omari Malik Shumpert as impeachment or rebuttal evidence, or as the basis of a prosecution for perjury or false statement. This provision is necessary in order to ensure that Omari Malik Shumpert does not abuse the opportunity for an off-the-record proffer discussion, does not make material false statements to a government agency, and does not commit perjury while testifying at trial. Some more transcripts. Detective Joe Price. So Jeff's out of the picture now. Omari Shumpert, yeah. Detective Joe Price. Jeff deals with Mexicans. Omari Shumpert, yes. Detective Joe Price. In large volumes. Shumpert, yeah. Price of dope. Shumpert, yes. Price, you don't got to be a detective to figure that out. Shumpert, yeah. Price, again, we know more than that as well. So tell us again about Jeff. Jeff plugs. How did this come to be? Who would have this information with Jeff? Obviously, your mom, Shumpert, yeah. So he could have got the information from my mama. I'm not sure where he got the information directly. I didn't know about the situation or the house until that day, until we got there at the house. Detective Joe Price, Omari Shumpert, I never knew of the person who was robbed, and I didn't know his name. Price, yeah, you're not dumb. You're not dumb. I mean, you put this stuff together. You're in the biz. You're on the street. You know, Shumpert, yes. Joe Price, you understand that, Shumpert, and that's what I can add together. Yeah, I think my mom told him about it. Told him about her ex-boyfriend's club. Price, Shumpert, they could have came together and made a plan to rob that person. I'm not sure. I wasn't around for that, but I don't want to make things up. Price, there was. Shumpert, up either. Price, some talk there had to been having some talk. Shumpert, when I read Discovery, I think it was because I feel like Jeff made an anonymous tip call and said that Shumpert brothers were involved. So Mario could have had been Jeff plug. Someone called and said that Shumpert had something to do with the murder and said that my mom was dating Migo. Price, okay. Shumpert, then Ken, add up, yes, but I'm not sure. I can't tell you the truth. I don't want to lie to you about it either. Price, Shumpert, because I didn't know them people. Price, so between that and then your mother wanted your phone before you left, you're putting guns everywhere, you're getting in uniforms. Did she know this isn't R legit? I mean, she absolutely knew what was going on. Shumpert, yes. Price, your mom. Shumpert, yeah, she could have. She was in the kitchen when my brother and Migo were inside the kitchen. I was in the living room on the couch, and when they came inside, my brother had a UPS uniform. Migo already had his on. Price, Shumpert, and that's when my mom came in the living room and asked me for my phone. I told her no, I needed my phone. Price, So there goes him telling on his mother. So that was pretty much it to the paperwork. That was, basically all we had to say. So obviously this case has been very wild, very crazy scenario. It's even crazier that, the low, they really thought they might have, well, I ain't gonna say that because they got caught within 2 weeks, but they might have thought they had got away with it. But just having, not checking for cameras inside the home. Now they was shit out of luck about that pole camera. They would have never figured that out. That was just shit out of luck. But not doing anything about the cameras inside the home. Then you have to, damn. And then you have one of the suspects telling on everybody. Yeah, it's not a good look. Even your mama, like it's just not a good look. It's not a good look. So yeah, bro, that's really all I gotta say though. So like, share, subscribe, comment. I do TikTok about the video, and we are.